Hey guys, this is PJ with the High Mountain Homestead. I am just finishing up some winter chores, which is always a treat, and I am thinking about the new year, 2021. The best thing about 2021 is that 2020 is going to be in the past. But let me tell you the one good thing about 2020 is that it caused a lot of people to start thinking more sustainably, right? If you look at Google Trends for gardening in March and April, some pretty high interest in gardening this year, which is great. I want more people to be thinking about gardening and how to create a more sustainable lifestyle. So this video is for anybody who is looking for a tip of how to be more sustainable in 2021. I've got a few tips, things that have been on my mind. So I've just kind of collected some general thoughts, and I'm going to be going through them today while I'm walking around the homestead and doing some chores. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here at the High Mountain Homestead. We are all about better soil, better plants, better animals, and sustainable living is all about that. So please stay tuned. Let's talk more about living sustainably next year. Okay, so a note on this. You guys might not be able to do every single thing on this checklist, but I bet you can do most things. In fact, I will even go as far to say I promise you can do most of these things on this list. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with the probably most controversial one right up front, and that is stop buying started plants at Lowe's or Home Depot. I am really happy when people are gardening, and if that's the only way you can garden, go for it. But I get so sick of it when I see these people that are like, look at me, I'm already getting tomatoes and it's June. I'm like, you didn't make that happen. You just bought a plant at Lowe's, planted it, and 2 weeks later the green tomatoes that were already on it ripened extra early. So I think it's so lame to buy starts, and here's why. It's because those seed starts, believe it or not, Lowe's or Home Depot did not start those seeds, okay? They were started thousands of miles away, depending on where you are, probably by Burpee or a company similar to that, and you're just getting these really lame seeds that aren't really doing much for you. They are no different than going to the store and buying non-organic, conventionally farmed stuff. It's coming from, the only difference is that maybe you're not using pesticides, but those plants aren't organic to begin with, so you're not really doing yourself any favors. What I would recommend doing instead, order a seed catalog. You will have so much fun in the winter months. I spent hours going over seed catalogs. I am like an old English woman looking at seeds, but I just spent hours, and it's a great way to spend time with the kids, just looking at plants and stuff. But I recommend Seed Saver Exchange, classic one. Baker Creek Seeds is another one that I've started to become a fan of. Order a free seed catalog or pay $5 or $10 and get a big one, and plan your garden from that. It will get you so excited, so amped up, and you'll be planting heirloom seeds, which are the kind that are not hyper commercialized. You'll be growing the stuff that was consumed and eaten 40, 50, 60, 100 years ago, kind of a thing. I am so grateful for the people that save seeds and do that. I'm not a huge seed saver, so I am really, really grateful for those that actually care enough to do stuff like that. So I support them. Seed Saver Exchange, Baker Creek Seeds, there's dozens more, but those are the two that I go back to. Okay, here's my next challenge. This one might be harder than the last. Find a spot of your yard, if you have a front yard. Don't worry, if you're in an apartment or a condo, I have a tip for you too. But if you have a yard, I challenge you to find a spot in it and stop growing grass and instead grow food. Hashtag grow food, not lawns. But bam! This is what we're doing. This all used to be grass, guys, and right now I lost my mind and I didn't buy. I'll tell you how I didn't buy it. I obtained about 80 cubic yards of wood chips and about another 20, let me point to the right way, over there. Altogether, this is about 5,000 square feet that I can now garden with. And you're probably like, wood chip. PJ, you don't grow food in wood chips. Actually, you do. Look up Garden of Eden or Back to Eden gardening. Look up no-till gardening. It is a thing. It is water efficient. Wood chips are the way of the future for gardening. But we are transforming basically our whole front lawn into garden space. So I'm not saying that you have to do that. You might have an HOA that will stop you from doing that. I don't have an HOA, so I'm just going to make an ugly front yard, which they'll be laughing in late spring when my garden starts looking beautiful. The point is, use some of that air. Put 2 or 3 raised planter beds. We had 7 raised planter beds last year. And then we actually opted out of raised planter beds in favor of this. I'm not knocking raised planter beds, but I feel like this is a better way. But raised planter beds are more attractive than something like this. Figure out a spot that you can put down even 2 4x8 raised planter beds. You will be surprised how many meals you're able to provide for yourself from just that space. So sacrifice a little bit of lawn space for a little bit of food space. And on that note, I'm going to walk over these wood chips while I'm talking about my next tip, which is just get some wood chips. Wood chips are so incredibly beneficial for just about anything. And the reason is because they retain water. They retain a microbiome of life, which is incredibly helpful for my next 2 tips. And while I'm killing time, while I'm walking my next 2 tips, I'll say Chip Drop is amazing. I have no affiliation with Chip Drop, okay? I don't get any money if you use Chip Drop or not. Chip Drop is a free service that allows you to go and request wood chips. If you live in a suburban area like I do, no joke, I've had it take hours sometimes, and other times I've had it take weeks. But basically you just get 20 cubic yards, a truckload of wood chips, freshly chipped, straight from your area. And you can use those for so many things. So the next thing I want to talk about for sustainability, if you have any bare pieces of ground like I do right here, cover it. Bare earth is dead earth. If you have leaves, put them there. If you have wood chips, put them there. I like how I'm telling you, like, do this. I'm not doing it yet. It's because it's freezing right now, okay? This is 2021 goals. I'm still in 2020 while filming this, so get off my back. The other thing that you can do with wood chips, and you can do just about anything, is compost. Compost, please, just compost stuff. You don't have to do as much as this. These boxes, they're about $100 on Amazon. I love them. I have filled each one of them up about 4 or 5 times over, and then throughout the weather, getting rained on, sprinklered on, the snow weighing it down, the microorganisms in there eating their food. I've filled these up 4 or 5 times each. So much compost. I love it. I'm really excited for the spring. If you don't know what you can compost basically anything, unless it's cooked meat, or really cooked or processed food, period. So I recommend composting. Please do it. It's so dang easy. Even if you don't want to drop $100, even if you just get like 4 pallets, which a lot of people do, and put them together. Or you can buy these really attractive bin composts that you turn. Those are really great too. But compost, please. It's so good for you. It's good for the environment. Better soil, better plants, better animals, right? Composting accomplishes all that and more. Okay, now if you've been watching up to this point and you do not have a yard or a garden or anything close to it, I'm going to stand next to this shed because I'm freezing. I have some tips for you guys too. Shop locally, okay? Buy local produce, buy local. Even if that means going to like a Whole Foods or something like Whole Foods in your area and shopping locally, that's a good start. Even better than that, farmers markets. Hello. Farmers markets are a great way to buy locally, support your local economy, support growers. The more we're able to do that, the more sustainable they can become. I recommend looking at regenerative farms in your area. I'm a big fan of regenerative farming. But buying locally helps support those initiatives, and it helps break down big ag, which I don't think the people involved in big ag are bad or a problem or anything like that. But until we can start creating a demand for the local regenerative stuff, big ag is not going to change. So we need to create that demand. Speaking of that demand of buying local produce, buy local meat. Local meat might even be easier than buying local produce. So if you have a local butcher, just go to them and say, hey, do you ever sell a quarter of a cow? 9 out of 10 times, they'll say yes. Or if you know people like me, anybody in Utah, what's up? High Mountain Homestead, buy some lamb from me. Local meat. It's awesome. I love being able to sell a whole lamb to someone that loves lamb, loves local. It's awesome. I highly recommend that. Honey, another great thing. Buy that locally too. Beekeepers love selling their honey, love talking about it. So buy local, anything you can. Hey, and if you're buying all that stuff locally, why don't you buy 5 times what you think you need? If you're buying produce, can that produce. You do not have to have a full-fledged garden to become a prolific canner or food preserver. So buy that stuff at a farmer's market. Take it home, can it, make your own preserves, do the homesteading thing. You'll be glad you did. I'll be glad you did. Okay, and then on that note, try new foods, okay? I feel like in the U.S. we have this crazy large country where we have so many different what's the word? Biomes? I don't know. Like climates, I guess is the right word. And conditions that allow us to grow so many different things. But as Americans, we only eat like 10 vegetables. It's like, broccoli, beans, like corn, potato, like all really lame things. Like open your eyes to the wealth of delicious fruits and vegetables that you could be consuming. If you consume more, you'll learn more about what's out there. And then, hey, now you can start planting it and growing it yourself. Okay, here's the last thing that I would recommend, and that is learn. Okay? Learning is the most powerful thing that you can possibly do to become more sustainable. You will not change. People do not change unless they know what the heck they're trying to do. So, a few places that I would start. There's a great documentary on Netflix. I've watched it once. I'm excited to even watch it again. It is called Kiss the Ground. Highly recommend that. And then for my book readers, read The Backyard Homestead. I love that book. That is an encyclopedia. I don't even lend it to people, because I reference it so often myself. Read The Backyard Homestead. It is a great way to just open your mind as to the possibilities of sustainability. And finally, a new one that I just watched. I don't know if it's free anywhere, but it's called Sacred Cow. Love that one. It talks about the superpowers of ruminant animals. Oh my gosh, that anyone who gets on me for hey, raising meat is cruel, I send them to that movie. Hopefully you didn't just watch this and say to yourself, hey, that's cool, I'm just going to keep doing my own thing. I would love to know in the comments, so please let me know in the comments what are some of the sustainable practices that you are going to be taking on this year. Maybe it's using less water, hopefully through wood chips. Maybe it's starting your own victory garden. Maybe you're getting chickens next year. I would love it if you got chickens next year, okay? Come back to this channel and learn more about keeping chickens. But I believe that as we get more sustainable, as a country, as a world, that a lot of our larger problems will subside. Sustainability is the future. It is the only future. I look forward to sharing that future with you guys. Let's get more sustainable in 2021. And let me know in the comments. And subscribe while you're here. Why not? Why not? Let's see each other again. Okay? All right. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later. I am so cold. You would not even believe how cold I am. I should have chosen a winter coat, and I didn't. And I feel so dumb for not doing it. I'm going to start right next to my garage door because there's no wind right here. And that is a blessed thing during the winter.